His passion for showing people how beautiful the world is pushed Freek Vonk to seek out many incredible animals in their own habitat, some more dangerous than others. Out of all of his encounters with the animals of the world, one seems to take the first place trophy, his almost deadly Caribbean reef shark rendezvous. Hit like and subscribe. This is Fierce. Born in the Netherlands on February 24, 1983, Freek has always displayed an immense love for nature and animals. His curiosity went so far that he decided to specialize in herpetology, focusing on snake venom. With a style inspired by the iconic Steve Irwin, Freek charmed his way through many TV shows and documentaries on Dutch television, Discovery Channel, and even National Geographic, where he traveled the world in pursuit of some of the most incredible and fascinating creatures on Earth. During this time, he still managed to juggle his academic responsibilities. He got his PhD, received the prestigious Eureka Prize in Science Communication, continued to publish articles in many scientific journals, including Nature, Cell, and PNAS, and was even appointed endowed professor of evolutionary biochemistry at the Amsterdam Institute of Molecular and Life Sciences. What else is left to say? He basically became a legend in his field as well as on TV by the age of 34, when one terrifying event would derail the filming of one of his most anticipated documentaries. But his success and achievements weren't enough. There was this part of the world that attracted him like a magnet, and he knew he had to get his crew together for the ultimate documentary, starring the ocean's most enigmatic creatures, sharks. Having always believed that sharks are friendly animals, especially to humans, Freek armed himself with his never-ending confidence and started his journey to the Bahamas, one of the many homes of the Caribbean reef shark. Accompanied by his dedicated crew, with the cameras rolling and his anticipation high, the famous biologist arrived in early 2017 at the remote island of Bimini, a haven for marine life and a hotspot for shark activity. The morning of February 1, 2017 started like any other morning, preparing for a full day of filming underwater. However, this day was particularly special. It was finally Freek's most awaited opportunity to discover the most misunderstood predators and shed light on how friendly the animals actually are. Boy, how wrong he was. Despite his apparent enthusiasm to begin filming, one thing kept bothering Vonk that day. He was more particular than usual, emphasizing how important it was for his crew to be alert. He didn't want any accidents to happen, so the then 34-year-old asked the fellow biologist from the Bimini Shark Lab to be prepared if anything were to go wrong. As the whole crew gathered at the meeting point and went over the script and filming plan, they prepared the cameras in special gear and slipped into their wetsuits. What they didn't know was that not everything would go according to plan. A few minutes later, it was showtime. The ocean welcomed Freek and his crew with open arms as the cameras caught every second of their descent. The setting for Freek's intro was perfect. Under him, gigantic shadowy figures lurked, ready to enter the stage. As soon as the Dutch biologist started his speech, the fish that swam in the background dispersed at a speed faster than lightning. In the corner of his eye, one of the cameramen saw something moving past them, then under them, then above them, too fast to be able to tell what animal it was. Hoping for it to be a Caribbean reef shark, the one they were so adamantly looking for, they pointed their cameras, trying to follow the shadowy figure. A Caribbean reef shark, sleek and agile, glided effortlessly through the water, cutting through the currents with unbelievable precision. A second later, it was right beside Freek, just as he was praising the animal for being one of the friendliest creatures one can encounter. In the blink of an eye, the shark made a swift turn and hit the biologist right in the chest before it retreated. Confused at what was happening, Freek instructed his crew to follow the animal and take as many shots as possible, thinking this footage would be insane. After all, courage was his middle name. He wasn't a stranger to handling dangerous animals, and nothing could stand in his way, especially around sharks. Continuing his introduction, the cameras picked up even more fascinating footage of the sharks that surrounded them. But something at the back of his mind still made Freek question the meaning of the previous hit. Why did the shark behave that way? These animals are usually very shy and don't approach people so daringly. Then it occurred to him. The Bahamas are known to be the birthplace of a controversial practice for the sake of entertainment: shark feeds. During these shows, divers would either go into the water with buckets of fish and feed the hungry reef sharks, or dump the food from boats along the coast. When Freek and his crew jumped into the water, the sharks, used to receiving regular feedings from divers, mistook them for food. Unfortunately, a sudden shift in the atmosphere filled the chilly water. The shark came back, more furious than ever at the sight of its prey escaping its powerful jaws. In a sudden move, the shark caught Freek's shoulder, pushed its sharp teeth around his arm, and ripped apart the biologist's diving suit. The power of the shark's jaws left Freek helpless, but his crew was determined to save him. By some divine intervention, the shark swam away, back into the darkness of the ocean. Blood started to slowly seep from the fresh wound, which attracted even more sharks below them. The clock was ticking. They needed to get back on the boat. In a blur of motion, his crew sprang into action, pulling him from the water and onto the safety of the boat. There, the damage was shocking. The shark's teeth ripped Freek's shoulder apart. Freek arrived safely back at the Bimini Shark Lab, where Director Dr. Samuel Gruber administered first aid and got Vonk ready to be transferred to a proper medical facility. Because Bimini is a rather small island, medical care is insufficient, especially for an injury as serious as Freek's. Knowing all of this, the documentary crew and doctors at the Shark Lab asked for emergency assistance from the U.S. Coast Guard. A helicopter transported Freek safely to Miami's Jackson Memorial Hospital. The Ryder Trauma Center there swiftly took over the case, with Dr. Howard Lieberman in charge. After a 3-hour major surgery that involved extensive and aggressive washing of the wound and debridement of dead skin and muscle, while Vonk was completely under anesthesia, and after over 100 stitches on his shoulder and arm, the Dutch iconic academic and TV personality embarked on a long journey to recovery. Right after the surgery, the doctors assured Freek that the shark miraculously missed any vital arteries and that his muscles and tendons were mostly fine. However, long weeks of rehabilitation awaited him before he could get back to the water to continue his documentary. Despite his unfortunate encounter with the Caribbean reef shark in the Bahamas, Freek insisted on a Facebook post he wrote right from his hospital bed only a day after the incident that it was all just a huge coincidence. In the over 27 years Shark Lab had been investigating the sharks of Bimini, nothing like this has ever happened. This bite, as he called it, was not an attack, but just some bad luck he experienced one day while filming. But we can't help but wonder, what if history repeats itself? Will Freek or other wildlife enthusiasts escape death with just a few scratches? The answers are still hidden, but one thing is for sure, you never want to mess with these fierce predators.